Hello guys and gals, me Mutahar, and today we're finishing off the old trilogy of SmartSchoolBoy9. Now, before we get into it, there's been a lot of interesting, clickbait. There's been a lot of, I guess you could say, interest in this one case. Okay, it's kind of become like an internet like meme at this point, a massive meme. So, to give you a full context of it, a couple weeks ago, a friend of the channel, Nick Crowley, uploaded a video about Smart Schoolboy 9 in tandem with another friend of the channel, Nexpo. And they covered a Reddit investigation of a character known as Smart Schoolboy 9, okay? Now, Smart Schoolboy 9 is an individual, I guess the first name is known as David, last name fluctuates. But this individual was basically alleged to be behind some rather unsavory accounts on the internet. Accounts on the internet where they were pretending to be a schoolgirl with an interest in certain types of shoes. And let's just be upfront and real about it. There were definitely images and edited photos of children posted on the internet that I'm sure this person wasn't related to, okay? Now, there's been some wild speculation in the story, and this investigation has taken an insane turn for quite literally the worst, okay? As I've covered in the last video, there were people literally going up to random houses and just knocking on doors. And, you literally had children going out trying to find this guy in the fucking wild, okay? Stuff that you probably shouldn't be doing. And if you're going to be investigating a serious situation where you think children are in danger, you probably should be incredibly professional and limit as much of the speculation as you can. Unfortunately, that didn't really happen, but there's been a massive update. As you can read by the title, the investigation, it just does not exist. It seems to actually be completely over. So, like, two nights ago, I saw this one post from the Greenwich MPS, so an official police, social media account, posting, "Parents, please be aware of Smart Schoolboy 9 messages circulating on Snapchat." Oh, what a derelict platform. A male is pretending to be a child and engaging with kids on social media. An investigation is ongoing, but his intentions are, and unfortunately I don't have the rest of this, because shortly after, the police force here actually took down that social media post. Now, of course, when they took down the social media post, it ended up actually being a situation where they have denied any form of actual investigation. So according to the Metropolitan Police, they told Dexerto, "We are aware of the video being posted online. As no crime has been committed in the content of the video, we are not investigating anything at this time. We have reminded the local teams on the parameters of how we operate and what content should be posted online from our channels." So in this situation, yes, the police force, which again, when it comes to the MPS, the Greenwich MPS, I don't even think they had like actual authority in there. But this is one of those scenarios where the person is not even identified. Okay, the internet does not even know who this Smart Schoolboy 9 character is. Nobody really has a real tangible clue on where they live or what even is their confirmed last name in this situation, because if you've been following this case at all, things just constantly keep fluctuating, right? So in this scenario, ladies and gentlemen, obviously law enforcement is probably not going to be doing anything. There is no crime in being a creepy person on the internet. Now, to go back to it, I want to address one problem from the last video, okay? I got a lot of backlash from the comments from saying that the Metropolitan UK Police was good. I did not know that there was a controversy around that police force nearly every other minute of the day. So, in my limited experience with the UK police, I found them, in my personal view, to be okay. Maybe that was a very rare case, but apparently the UK police is definitely not okay with, just being completely functional. They got a lot of controversy, and when it comes to something known as a offender registry, one thing I've noticed is it doesn't really seem like the UK has anything like that. Like, if you live in the United States, you probably should be able to identify if there's any weird predator that has moved into your neighborhood. According to Police UK, when it comes to the offender disclosure scheme, they let you formally ask the police whether someone who is in contact with a child before has a record, poses a risk. So it is not a law, it is sometimes called Sarah's Law. I want to find out if somebody lives in my area. There is no process in the UK for you to find out if an offender lives in your area. Sarah laws let you ask the police whether a specific person who spends time alone with a kid or children is a registered offender, right? So one of the actual posts that I read on Reddit from 3 years ago about Police UK, Actually, there's a subreddit for fucking everything, dude. Why isn't the offender register public? My sister just found out that she lives next to an offender. Obviously, she's disgusted, but as she has 2 kids, she's more concerned by the fact that these people are allowed to live next door to families without anybody knowing this. So again, one of the top comments here is if the offenders registry was public with identities and addresses, let's be frank, it would get them mob lynched and probably murdered. And we don't really go for that considering our main duty is to preserve life. So obviously in the United States, where I believe all these kind of offender registries are public, in the United Kingdom, they don't really go for that. So identifying this person, even if you had a name, would probably not be able to happen because there's no public record to cross-reference off of, from my understanding. To give you an idea of some of the intellectual capabilities, one person writes, the thing is, there may be building a case on him, but they wouldn't inform the public if they're monitoring his downloads, etc., as that could tip him off and delete evidence. Much like him being rumbled on Instagram. In all honesty, the countless obsessive kids that follow this guy from page to page announcing it to the world makes him delete most of his paper trails. And even though they can be recovered, it just makes it a bit trickier. Not to mention the countless trolls and imitators that make it harder to find correct accounts. So yeah, it's one of those things where people think that, yeah, an entire police force would really lie about it, which, from my understanding, when it comes to announcing investigations, police agencies are not really going to say one thing or the other, especially through their press channels, okay? But again, that's just kind of understanding like the mental capabilities of some of the people on the subreddit, because I really feel like people don't understand how things actually fucking work. The thing about it is, as this guy was being investigated, a lot of things were being deleted because, yeah, these people operate, creepy people will be creepy in public, but as soon as eyes get drawn onto them, yeah, of course they're going to start deleting fucking everything because that's just how things go. So in this situation, whether this guy actually did break the law or not, there's no really hard evidence about that. When it came to a massive claim of CP being distributed, there really wasn't any actual hard proof that links this person to any known piece of actual child exploitation material, CSAM material, that was linked to their actual accounts. Like I said in my last video, if that was the case, a lot of these social media platforms would have actually shut his account down if they could detect any of those known CSAM hashes. So people making the claim that these images were being shared from actual known pieces of CSAM material was a little bit unbelievable. So it followed a pattern of people not providing accurate evidence to this entire situation, which made an entire joke of this actual investigation. And again, when you start to look at how popular this topic was on the internet, plenty of people have been making videos about it, but again, you start to see things like, he's been found! Come on, Pyro, you know he hasn't, you know better than that. I guess I'll let him slide past the slop today because he uploaded a good Darkwood video, but come on now, you know better. Now obviously, this guy is a weird dude, to the point where you've got entire safeguarding groups putting out warnings saying our online team has been receiving reports about somebody who's been interacting inappropriately online. The individual is potentially masquerading as a child on social media in order to interact with children. The situation has also led to increased discussions and concerns on social media. Copycat accounts have emerged, and videos relating to this issue are circulating in some schools. And that has caused fear and anxiety amongst younger children who've been exposed to this harmful content. So yeah, instead of this actually being a serious investigation, a bunch of kids are just sharing this around like the neighborhood boogeyman at this point. He's become effectively a boogeyman instead of an actual, investigative, instead of this being a real investigation, it's turned into like Momo or some crazy, meme that is being shared around in schools. And of course, when it comes to people on the internet, some of the goofiest shit that I've ever seen is one of these accounts. So this is like one YouTuber known as Ezekiel the First. And they made like an interview with this guy and it got a lot of viewership too. Like around 500,000 people watched this, and it was so patently fake that it's just it actually blows me away. Like he literally got some dude to sit down and be a paid actor of this situation. And before somebody says, Muda, how do you know this? I would bet both my testicles and every dollar in my bank account that this was not actually SmartSchoolBoy9 in this situation. This is somebody who he sat down with and had a little, fake interview with just for the internet clout over here. But again, one thing that gets even weirder out there is to show you the amount of evidence being shared around is one of the big finds about 5 days ago was apparently the voicemail right here. Very weird. Found this on their phone number, okay? So listen to this shit right here.
Hi, how are you? Now, if you need to, leave a nice message, but if it's a nasty message, you'll be Reported. Bye.
That was apparently the voicemail right there. Now, I have no idea if that is SmartSchoolBoy9 or fucking Peppa Pig. To be honest with you, it could be either or. And again, when it comes out to people who are like, wait, what is the actual proof in this situation? Thankfully, because of people covering it, and I'm going to be honest, I want to just say my coverage on this, basically telling people to be upfront and, questioning everything. Somebody writes, could be fake, no proof, it's exactly his, could just be somebody pretending. It's a very good impression if so. If it's fake, it would have to be done with AI. No, there's some pretty good impressionists out there, okay? Don't think that was that great. Now, one of the things I never covered was like something known as this mask theory, for instance, okay? So one individual basically comes out and says, they took 5 photos and they thought that they could be wearing like this half face mask, right? So they basically look around like the chin lines over here, the mask outline as they claim, and basically say that one of the reasons he's not identified as this lower half of the face could actually just be like a mask. That potentially has made identifying this person difficult. Now, look, at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, the SmartSchoolBoy9 story has effectively come to an... God, you know what I hate the most is when you can't sneeze. That drives me insane. Now, aside from places like TikTok, where literally, other than a few people constantly still speculating about this, or producing what appears to be an actual piece of AI material, like I've seen enough AI to know that that easily could just be AI video. Yeah, there's not really much to go off of, okay? It's an investigation that ultimately didn't really have a whole lot of legs. Arguably, the only actual place where there is any form of investigation with actual, care being put into it probably would be places like literally the Kiwi farms, where at least in this situation, one of the users is like, Reddit's bungled pulp. Mall cop investigation has forced me to create an account after lurking for years. Thanks, Reddit. I hate it. I think the strongest link we have into SSB's real life is, again, that Ethelred Estate, which I talked about last time, the Facebook group that basically got sent just piles of shit pictures onto it. Great work, by the way. Amazing stuff, trolls. It's inarguable that he lived there and continued his fixation to present day. Even a cursory Google for this, place brings up articles with comments for an account known as Stephanie Stansfield, or that name in particular, back in 2019. So then they start bringing up a potential lead is finding things like the electoral record. And of course, you get into more situations where, again, they actually start to look at real records, real news articles, a lot more work than Reddit or really any other group, even the police, seem to have done in this situation. Now, at the end of all of this, one of the things that I still like to maintain from the first time I've ever covered and researched this rabbit hole is obviously there's images of these children being edited and shared. And it really seems like those belong to real children whose images have been grabbed off of the internet and has been used by this, creepy guy to basically, edit around and share on their own social media platforms. And the thing about it is, obviously, I don't think there's any illegality to it. But obviously it is very creepy. I don't really go with the whole thing where, as long as it's legal, it's completely 100% ethically okay. No, there's serious ethical issues with just sharing around photos of children, especially edited around. There's a weird nature to it, almost fetishistic, that I really feel like if the law enforcement isn't looking into, maybe platforms should look into and directly intervene. Like I've always said, when it comes to children, you probably shouldn't be uploading any photos of minors in your family on the internet. And, even if their photos get uploaded to like a government site, like a public school website where like, you just have like a random child being shown, and it's a completely innocuous photo. The problem is there's always creepy individuals who will just take that information and go to town with it. And it's one of those things where obviously I really feel like, if you have children in your life, probably shouldn't ever share them around on the internet or put them on there or social media in general. Just because there's weird people like this that will probably use their likeness and just share it around, and those kids will just end up being parts of these rabbit holes completely without that consent. And realistically, in this situation, I think it's up to the social media platforms to probably jump into it and maybe remove these accounts that SmartSchoolBoy9 owns, or lock them down. YouTube will oftentimes intervene for, channels that take advantage of children. And I really feel like in this situation, SmartSchoolBoy9 has taken advantage of children's likenesses. Now, the other thing is, obviously, it's very serious if this guy has ever interacted with children in a private fashion, like sent them a DM. Ultimately, that is up to law enforcement to discover. Not just law enforcement, but obviously even the platform holders themselves. So honestly, if you see creepy behavior like this, the best thing you literally can do is report it to your social media platform that you see it on. And honestly, if you're interacting with the police in this situation, you probably should be upfront. You probably should be professional. No trolling, no wild speculation, and make sure you have like case numbers on hand, okay? That's pretty much the best advice to offer. But out of all of this situation, this guy has effectively disappeared off of the internet. Law enforcement has effectively, killed the search, if there was even a search. But guys like this, creepos like this, I think ultimately resurface after a while, anyways. But it's one of those things where I feel like this is a great, great example of what happens when the internet goes rampant with an investigation, clearly for clout's sake and not to really make the world a better place. If this guy was truly guilty of bad things, being weird around children, unfortunately, that information might have been completely deleted because of how the internet and at least this Reddit has responded to this actual investigation. But yeah, at least in one situation, you can say for sure Kiwi Farms was at least actually investigating this guy. They actually did in like what 4 weeks of them researching this situation. They've done more effort than the fucking Reddit involved. Crazy shit. But ladies and gentlemen, if you like what you saw, please like, comment, and subscribe. Dislike it if you dislike it. I am out.